Looking for an electric bike? Want to convert a bike you already have? Or just looking for an extra battery for your e-bike? Check out our range at lebikes.co.uk. Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Liam Angell, aka Straight Shootin LJA, and welcome to another E-Bikes opinion piece. Now, I have kind of broached this subject before about e-bike fires, but this is kind of from a different angle this time. And the reason why I say that is because of this. I'm just going to read this quickly. Owners of e-bikes or e-scooters will not be allowed to charge batteries inside their apartments under rules developed for strata schemes concerned about fire risks. The Owners Corporation Network, OCN, this is from ABC News in Australia, an independent body representing apartment owners, has drafted a model bylaw on the management of e-bikes and e-scooters after a series of fires sparked by lithium-ion batteries. If adopted by strata schemes, the bylaw would also ban residents from storing cheaper imported models, modified or damaged e-bikes on the property. OCN board chair Fred Tuckwell said they supported the uptake of e-bikes and e-scooters as a clean mode of transport, but wanted to ensure they were stored and charged safely. We're not saying ban the things, we're just saying mitigate the risk and just be cautious and sensible, Mr. Tuckwell said. Don't buy cheap junk, don't hot them up, and don't put them in the fire egress path. Now, ideally, apartment buildings would install safe charging stations in common areas, but Mr. Tuckwell acknowledged few complexes had that infrastructure. More on that a bit later. But the OCN considered whether a ban was necessary, but found well-designed e-bikes that met Australian certification were safe, and the risk was largely confined to modified, damaged, or cheaper unsafe variants. If you've got a high-risk device like the cheap imports or something that's damaged, then you take that into a house and apartment building, you're actually asking for trouble, Mr. Tuckwell said. Kind of agree with him on that one. But moving on swiftly, inside charging ban not realistic, according to Bicycle NSW CEO Peter McLean. He said that it was unrealistic to stop people from charging batteries in their own dwellings. There's no point bringing in rules that can't actually be enforced and probably only encourage people to do the wrong thing behind people's backs, Mr. McLean said. Mr. McLean, who has two e-bikes, understood apartment owners' concerns about fires, but said the risk could be managed. In our experience, they're certainly very, very safe pieces of micro-mobility equipment, he said. He said many fires were caused when a battery was plugged into a fast charger that was not designed for it, which led to dangerous overcharging. Mr. McLean called on the Australian government to crack down on the importation of chargers and e-bikes that did not meet Australian or European standards, something the OCN supported. Now, you know what? Interestingly, I think this is quite an interesting topic, and as I said, I have broached this topic before about e-bike fires and about electric bike safety and how to avoid these fires. That's not where I'm going with this, because to ban people from being able to charge e-bikes in their own homes, yeah, as was said by Bicycle NSW CEO Peter McLean, it's not realistic. It's not realistic at all. That's like banning people from charging their laptops at home. Both lithium-ion batteries, all right, difference in terms of size, power, and all that. But at the same time, how can you police it? So if you were to take this to the US or the UK, how do you police that? A lot of police forces already have massively stretched resources. So how are you going to police it? And secondly, blanket bans very rarely work. I don't think they ever work, blanket bans, because one of the important bits of context that Peter McLean he talked about was the fact that people are buying cheap chargers and charges of, say, a higher amperage than what the battery was designed for. So if a battery is designed to take a 2 amp charger and a 2 amp charger comes with it, some people trying to charge the battery quicker would buy, say, a 10 amp charger, and it's like, whoa, why do you need that battery to charge so quickly? Why do you need the battery to charge in 2 hours instead of the regulation, say, 6 or 7 hours that the battery is used to or is designed for? So I can understand that, but then it is one of them ones where the side of it that really does need to be looked at is, as was said, the importation of cheaper, unregulated models. Regulation of e-bike batteries and e-bikes in general, I totally understand. That should be a given. Yeah, you may see, as I've said before, you may see a jump in price, but what price safety? What is peace of mind and ultimate safety worth to you? I would say it's priceless. So a lot of people I speak to as the owner of LE bikes, it's a case of a lot of people do kind of look for the cheaper end of bikes. They're looking for an e-bike for, say, 300-400 quid, and it's like, well, in my experience, it's always been you buy cheap, you buy twice. And in this case, with lithium-ion batteries, it may not be the cost of buying twice that's the highest price. The highest price could be damage to yourself, your equipment, your property, your dwelling, and it's not worth that risk. So it is a case of I see a lot of, for instance, delivery riders riding around on batteries where they're just wrapped up in cling film. And even I look at that and think, get that away from me. Because number one, I don't know who's put that together. Number two, I don't know if they've safely put it together. And number three, look at the way it looks, just aesthetically. It's like, get it away from me. If I had a building, I wouldn't let it anywhere near it. I don't want to see a battery wrapped in cling film with a 1,000-watt motor on it and a 20-amp battery. I wouldn't want that pinging around, especially not in inclement weather such as rain. And here in England, it rains a lot. So it's like any little drop of water in that, fire hazard. Done. So it is one of them ones where banning people from charging e-bike batteries in their house is not realistic. It's not sustainable. You can't police it. But as I've said before, it ignores the context of how e-bike fires start and battery fires in general start. Most of it is mistreatment of a battery. Like people literally, as I said, charging a battery that's designed for a 2-amp charger with a 10-amp charger, for instance. It's like, no. Like, you're putting way too much current through it. Some people use the wrong charger. Like we've said on LE Bikes Tips and Tricks videos, always use the correct charger, the correct voltage for your battery. Don't use a 52-volt charger on a 36-volt battery. No, you don't. Sorry, a 54-volt charger on a 36-volt battery. No, don't do that. 42 volts goes with a 36-volt battery. That is it. You don't play around with that. And there does need to be a lot more education in regards to that, in my opinion. So where I see an opportunity would be to educate people and let them know that, as opposed to just doing a blanket ban without telling anybody why and just saying, oh, it's all about e-bike fires. It's like, well, how did these fires start? What were the root causes of these e-bike fires? And that's, as I said before, that's very much a point that is seldom made. So, I said, I just look at it as, yes, I do think that Fred Tuckwell, the OCN, Owners Corporation Network Chairman, I think he's right in terms of mitigating risk, but mitigating risk, blanket bans don't mitigate risk. They don't get rid of risk because you're not working with electric bikes or electric scooters. preferably you would work with people to say, okay, why are you cutting these corners? Why are you buying cheap batteries? Why are you storing these batteries incorrectly? Why are you trying to get this bike to charge so quickly? What do you know about what you've bought? The electric bike that you've bought, what do you know about it? Is it second hand? Is it third hand? How many miles are on the clock? How old is the battery? What do you know about what you've purchased? And for me, that's where it becomes important. So, as I said, instead of a blanket ban, you start getting people to think a bit more constructively about, oh, okay, so my e-bike's got two, and the one I've just bought it, I'm the third owner. The battery, they've said that the battery's 3 years old. It's probably twice as old as that. They've said that it's got 2,500 miles on it. It's probably got more. They've said they've charged it 100 times, but with that mileage, it doesn't add up. So they've probably charged it 3 times as much. So how many cycles has it got left? And then it's like, where did the person get the battery from and the bike from originally? There's a question too. So getting people to think a bit more in depth about what they're buying, I think is where it needs to go, instead of just blanket bans. You can't charge this in your house. Oh, we've got apartment complexes, you can't charge it anywhere. And in regards to housing infrastructure, there are a lot of people who have got electric bikes doing delivery jobs, who are doing delivery jobs to make ends meet. So they might not be in these swanky apartment complexes of, say, Canary Wharf or North Greenwich or Docklands or any other trendy area where you've got these multi-million pound complexes that can afford to have an area just for electric bike charging that's insulated and that's safe and is blast proof or bomb proof. They might be living in the council estates of London or Nottingham or Middlesbrough or Derbyshire or Derby or wherever. So I think you've got to work with people instead of blanket bans. Blanket bans just, to me, don't work. And they're not feasible. Because as I said, you can't enforce them. So, as I said, it is about educating people as to how to use their e-bikes properly, how to store the batteries, how to charge them, instead of just saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, you won't do this, you won't do that. It's all about educating people on how to do things the right way, instead of having to come back and deal with the issues of them doing it the wrong way. That would be my take on it. But you know what? I want to know your views. We are LE Bikes on YouTube. You can find us on TikTok. We're LE Bikes. LE Bikes. Search for us. LE Bikes Ltd as well. Facebook. We are on Facebook. LE Bikes. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We got our website, lebikes.co.uk. Go green, go electric, save money with LE Bikes. We've got quality mid-drive motors. We specialize in those. We do have bikes from Himiway and Engwe. We are official authorized distributors for Himiway long range electric bikes and Engwe e-bikes as well. So if you've already got an Engwe and you need some spare parts or a Himiway, look us up. We are everywhere that you need to be. We've got the LE Bikes opinion piece videos, we've got the podcast, we've got the tips and tricks videos as well, teaching you and giving you little bite-sized chunks on how to keep your e-bike and e-bike battery, number one, safe, but number two, also ticking over so you can get the most out of it as well. You know what? I have been Liam Angell, aka Straight Shootin LJA, and until next time on this LE Bikes opinion piece, take care and remember, go green, go electric, save money with LE Bikes. Check us out at lebikes.co.uk. Take care and happy riding, everyone. mid-drive motor conversion kits, ready-made e-bikes, batteries, bike-to-e-bike conversions, custom builds and more. Start your journey into electric bikes at lebikes.co.uk.